Tammy felt alone with his thoughts and personal misery, even amongst the throng of people. He was inside the 24 Hours Tavern in Shawela, Soweto. No doubt he looked like he was enjoying his castle lager. You could tell by the way he sipped it slowly and licked his thick lips. Of course, he was in good company of his best friend, Uvusi. But Tammy's heart was heavy. His mind was very busy, racing like a moth looking for a flame. Less than 2 months ago, he had separated from Thuli. She was his common-law wife of 8 years. He could not believe that the following Monday he was going to face her at the Johannesburg Maintenance Court. About a week ago, Tammy had received a summons to appear in the court for not paying the maintenance of his 3 children. Just look at me, man. Everyone can tell that I'm as black as Africa itself. I cannot be that boy's real father. There's no history of albino children in my family, Tammy said. He paused and took a drag from a cigarette. He emitted the smoke through his nose and it lazed upward. That Thuli probably slept with an albino guy whilst I was away with the chief. Stop making a revolution out of it, man, said Vusi while shaking his head. These things happen. There might have probably been a biological reason. Even my mother knows that kid is not mine, and he's the cause of my separation from Thuli. I'm going to tell the court on Monday that I can't pay maintenance for the kid when I know it's not mine. I've advised you to deny paternity on Monday. So what are you still worried about? Said Vusi. 10 o'clock Monday morning was the court date. As Tammy entered the magistrate court, Thuli was already sitting on the bench along the corridor. She could not hide her anger as she saw Tammy approaching. She stood up. Her squinted eyes warned him that she was angry. And you call yourself a man? I don't think so, Thuli said out loud. Do you want me to tell you what real men do, huh? Real men support their children. They put the bread on the table every day for their children. Real men pay for their children's studies and they make sure that their children have shelter. You are not a real man because you do not support your children. Yes, tell that bastard how he is, said the lady who was breastfeeding along the corridor. Tammy was too tight-lipped. Everyone in the corridor was looking at him. He felt humiliated. Just look at you, she eyed him sharply. You're not even ashamed of yourself. Honor my throne, she continued. You are here wearing an expensive suit and nice shoes, but your 3 children are barefooted at home. I would be ashamed of myself if I were you. Divorce the bastard and get on with your life, girl. You are still young and there are lots of men who would kill to be with you, said another lady who was sitting at the far end of the bench. The lady leaned forward and snapped her fingers. Just like that. Dump him like a hot potato, girl. But you must make sure the bastard pays heavily for what he did. He doesn't deserve you at all. Tammy pinched his nose in embarrassment. Many thoughts were going through his mind. A woman in black pants and a blue shirt appeared. She stopped at the doorframe. Mr. and Mrs. Mapela, the woman said. She called out while standing in the doorway of her office. Come to my office, please. Thuli and Tammy followed the woman inside. She pushed the door shut with her right leg without turning. Well, as you might already know, my name is Sylvia Dube, she said. I'm the marriage counselor. I can tell that it's a difficult period between the two of you. I also know that for the sake of the children, Mr. Mapela, Mrs. Mapela here has laid a complaint against you for not giving your 3 children some financial support. I understand that you are at your job and earning the same amount as when you were paying your maintenance about 3 months ago. But what made you suddenly stop paying, Mr. Mapela? Why are you not supporting your children anymore?
Yes, you're right, Counselor. My problem is not about the money at all. I'm denying paternity of the last born. I don't believe I fathered him, he said, with a forced calmness in his voice. A shockwave passed through Thuli. What? She demanded angrily and without a blink in her eyes. She then gave a derisive laugh. Ha ha! Ha ha! You want to tell me that all these 8 years that I've been with you, you did not trust me? You also want to tell me that you had no balls to face me and that you were just waiting to say it in court. Is that right, huh?
Hold on. Let me get this straight, said Councillor Dube, whilst demonstrating with her hands. What you are saying is that you are here to contest paternity of 1 child amongst the 3? Is that right?
My intuition tells me that the last born child is not mine. I want to clear it up once and for all, said Tammy.
What about the other 2 children? Why are you not supporting them?
I think that for the past 2 months, my mind was not working well. It had affected me a lot.
Did it affect you to the extent that you failed to support your own children?
Yes, I guess so.
That's a tough one, said Councillor Dube.
She sounded unconvinced.
So you want the blood test to be done?
Yes, I want to clear my doubts, and in fact, if I am the father, I will happily support my child, he answered, avoiding eye contact.
You're a liar.
You're doing it for your ego and not for the sake of the children, interrupted Thuli angrily.
Mrs. Mapela,
Hey, Councillor Dube could not even finish her words. Please call me Thuli. I no longer want to be associated with the surname.
Okay, Thuli. We assure you that this court will do everything in its power to make it a point that your children are well looked after, said Councillor Dube, as she tried to calm Thuli down. But do you know that this might have serious consequences for your relationship with your children?
Yes, it is the risk I'm willing to take, said Tammy.
Yeah. Why are you running away from your responsibilities? Shouted Thuli impatiently. Shame on you, ha!
Councillor Dube looked at her watch. She stood up with some papers in hand.
I'm just going next door to the magistrate. I'll be back in a moment. I want you two to behave when I'm gone. Don't shout at each other inside my office.
The tension between Thuli and Tammy continued. There was not a single word spoken between them.
Well, both of you will be appearing before the magistrate in room 4 in about 30 minutes, said Councillor Dube in a new tone of voice. I thought your problem was only about paying maintenance. Unfortunately, it seems it's more complex than that. I don't have the authority to ask for your blood samples, but the magistrate has, and that is why you have to go in there. Oh, again, the unfortunate part is that all 5 of you, she said, as if to soften her words, I mean you and your 3 children, will have to undergo that blood test. We want to compare all of your DNAs and make sure that the outcome of the blood test is 100% correct.
2 weeks later, Magistrate Zota Khumalo presided over the court proceedings on a Friday morning.
This is the case of paternity between Tammy and Thuli Mapela,
said Magistrate Khumalo after clearing her throat.
May the 2 parties step forward, please.
Tammy and Thuli stepped forward in front of the magistrate.
Dum,